And now it's time for Corner Table, our exclusive theater review segment. It features legendary critic John Simon and newcomer Justin Brown. Simon, as many of you know, he wrote for New York Magazine for more than 35 years. He's also written for the New York Times, the Washington Post, and more. Justin, an actor and director who also reviews plays. Well, tonight they take a look at American Son. It's a new play starring Kerry Washington.
Hello, Corner Table friends. Hey, John.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty well, thank you.
Tonight we're talking about American Son. It is playing at the Booth Theater, and it's starring Kerry Washington, Stephen Pasquale, Eugene Lee, and Jeremy Jordan. It is by Christopher Demos Brown. It's directed by Kenny Leon. It's a cute little 80-minute play. John, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the fact that the author is a lawyer and the author's wife is a lawyer. Two lawyers in one family spells no good. One can live with, but two in the same little family is too much. And of course they know all about police procedure,
Right.
and all that stuff is correct and fine, and being lawyers they know it. But they haven't created a play that means very much to us.
So do you find that because they're lawyers, it makes the piece a little too technical and lacks a level of heart and empathy in its execution?
Probably. The actors try too hard to compensate for what is not a very good part in each case. And Stephen Pasquale is particularly desperately trying to create something big, but it isn't in the writing, and he can't do it, and no one could. And it's really essentially a kind of melodrama, because it is not very interesting until the very end when there's a revelation. But that's probably where the play should begin instead of end.
See, no, I disagree. I don't think so at all. But I think this is an experiential situation. So to give everyone a little background on this show, it's about an interracial couple who have an interracial son named Jamal, who inevitably gets into an altercation with a police officer. So with that said, it's a very topical show. I don't think that it's poorly written. I do think it's a little technical. For me, where I found issue was there was a lot of room for multiple choices, different choices that could have been made on Kerry Washington's part as a African-American actress. But instead, she crafted this portrayal of a desperate, angry, upset black woman. And it's fair, and it's understandable, it's important. But I also think at the same time, in a world and in a time where that's constantly what's being painted about us, I don't think that that needs to be the dead horse that we're continuing to beat with the same choice over and over again. Instead, in rebuttal to what you're saying about Pasquale, I think Stephen's attempt at pulling and pulling has more to do with the consistent and constant choices that Washington is making on stage. How do you continue to have different reactions to someone on stage and make your character interesting if all you're continuing to get is the same thing from someone?
Yes, well, we too seem to have the same problem all the time.
Yeah, I think...
But there's no play about us, is there?
Not yet. Get ready. I do think that it's topical. I think it's an interesting play, but I don't know if it's being performed interesting enough to want to sit there for 80 minutes.
Well, one thing that surprised me, it's supposed to be taking place in a waiting room in a police station in Miami, Florida, at 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get the 4 o'clock from it, and I certainly don't think that a Miami police station has such comfortable furnishings.
Very grand.
Very grand.
Very grand.
That's not the way police stations
are. Right. When I walked into the theater and I saw it, I thought it was their living room.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, I think there were some interesting choices made across the board for this, but I think it was a missed opportunity. I think that this show has the potential to be incredibly topical, important. It has the potential to be disgraced even to a certain point in terms of how poignant it is. It makes some very important points about the blinders that we have depending on our levels of privilege, and the ways that microaggressions manifest, but I don't think that what was done with the material did it any justice.
Yeah, and it's directed well enough. But it's conceivable that it could have been directed even more interestingly.
I agree. So Corner Table friends, we're going to wrap up tonight's segment and say, if you get a chance, if you stumble upon something, it's worth the effort to go take a look at the show, but it's not a must-see to
No,
close
it's
out
certainly not.
2018. Thank you so much, friends.
And we'll be right back.